Yes guys, welcome back to another Fancy Football Fix YouTube video. My name is FPL Nacho, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the expert team reveal. This team is an amalgamation of the best managers on social media, and I cannot wait to show you this team. So make sure you do drop a like on this video, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, getting all that good content up until the Game Week 1 deadline. So without further ado, let's get into this expert team reveal. Now, the 3-5-2 formation is such a common one amongst a lot of FPL managers right now, and the expert team are doing the exact same. It is such a good formation just because of the value that the midfielders are offering this season. It just feels very difficult to go against it, and this is what the experts are going for. So between the sticks, they have gone for Man United's Onana, 25% owned in the game, and I think it's rightly so with the Man United fixtures that they have in the opening 3 game weeks. Wolves at home and Nottingham Forest at home in game weeks 1 and 3 feel like bankers from a clean sheet perspective. Yes, I have just absolutely cursed them there. But long term, I actually think the fixtures are a little bit tricky for Man United. Spurs in game week 2, Arsenal in game week 4, Brighton in game week 5. I think those opening 1 and 3 fixtures are definitely the appeal for the Man United defensive coverage in Onana. I think the pros for Onana, though, is in pre-season we have seen him accumulate a lot of passes, and that is going to really increase his baseline bonus points, which is going to be fantastic. If they do keep a clean sheet, he will be right in amongst those bonus points. And it's also worth noting that his ownership alongside Luke Shaw's is massive within the community. So if you go without Man United defensive coverage and they do keep a clean sheet, I think it's going to really negatively affect your overall rank. And at the earliest part of the season, I just think it's a bit of a risk going against the Man United defence. And clearly, the experts do agree. Now, moving into the back 3, we have some popular picks here. First up, the most owned defender in the game in Brighton's Estupiñán. I don't really have any complaints or argue the ownership of Estupiñán because of those opening 3 games. Luton, Wolves and West Ham, they don't come much better than that. And the beauty of Estupiñán is that he doesn't not only offer clean sheet potential, but importantly, that high ceiling of attack and returns. We saw that at the back end of last season. And I do think he is rightly so the most owned defender. Now, long term, he might be a sell if you don't have the bench to cover him when the fixtures do start to turn in game week 4. But again, we need to target those fixtures that are in front of us. And clearly the experts are doing the same route here. Now, another popular asset in amongst the game is Man City's John Stones. Now, we saw him play as a traditional centre-back in that Community Shield game, but I wouldn't be too put off by that. It was a game against Arsenal at the end of the day where they played a back 4 to kind of counteract the wingers that they do have threatening in that Arsenal team. I do expect Stones to play both a centre-back role and that inverted role that we did see alongside Rodri in the back end of last season. And I think Stones is a fantastic pick because the Man City fixtures long-term are amazing. And you want some investment in that defence if you can. And the expert team are clearly doing that themselves. And last up at the back 3 is Arsenal's Gabriel. I think the best pick in that team. You can go differential with Timber or Saliba, but Gabriel was the highest XG per 90 of any Arsenal defender last season. And he just feels like one of those defenders who can get on the end of those set pieces. And you want a piece of that, especially with the Arsenal fixtures that they do have at home against Forest in game week 1, at home against Fulham in game week 3, and even games like Everton in game week 5. They are good fixtures to get some Arsenal coverage in defence, especially with how well they defended against Man City in that Community Shield. And the expert team are big on the Arsenal defence. Now, moving into the midfield, and they've gone for the power trio of Saka, Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. I think Saka is rightly so the best Arsenal pick. Guaranteed minutes on penalties, and the fixtures, as I mentioned, are just great. And at 55% owned, it is very difficult to go against someone like a Bukayo Saka. But the experts have gone for a combination of Rashford and Bruno Fernandes to really double down on those home fixtures that they do have. And it's worth noting in game week 2 away against Spurs, Spurs in pre-season have been very ropey defensively. And I think that's going to be a bit of a goal fest. So I don't think it's bad having the double up of Man United in that particular fixture. I think Rashford is the priority, but if you can have Bruno alongside him, I think that's a really deadly differential duo to have going into this season. Now, the experts have gone for missing the 7.5 million price range and gone straight down to 2 6.5s in Matoma and in Buemo. Matoma being the popular pick, but I feel like the closer we get to the deadline, more and more managers are getting cold feet on him. And that's just because of the wealth of talent that Brighton have in the attacking areas, I think there is going to be a slight risk of rotation to all of their assets in that front three or front four. Matoma feels like the safest pick, but I do think with someone like Mbeumo, who right now is a slight risk for game week 1, but we're expecting him to be available on penalties with good long-term fixtures for Brentford, and we know his minutes are guaranteed. I feel like Mbeumo is going to emerge as the best option come game week 1, but with those Brighton fixtures at home against Luton, against Wolves and against West Ham, it's very difficult not to have some investment in the Brighton attack. So the experts have gone for both in their teams, and it's very hard to argue against it. Now, moving into the front line, I'm not even going to talk about Erling Haaland. He is just a lock in all of our teams. The experts have all got him in their teams, and they most likely will captain him in game week 1. But in the absence of Gabriel Jesus, who of course is ruled out for game week 1, 2, and maybe even 3, they have gone for Watkins, and I think it is the safe and shrewd move to go for. With Nkunku being ruled out for the opening few months with an injury to his knee, Nicholas Jackson feels like an attractive pick at 7 million. Darwin Núñez at 7.5 is a massive rotation risk. And we come down to the other options like Ferguson at Brighton or João Pedro at Brighton at 5.5. I think going for Watkins is just the right move. Aston Villa have looked great in pre-season alongside Ollie Watkins himself. They actually have good fixtures. I know game week 1 is not very favourable away against Newcastle, but after that they have Everton, then they have Burnley, they have Liverpool, who I don't think defensively are that sound, followed by Crystal Palace and Chelsea. I think the fixtures are absolutely fine for Aston Villa, and importantly, going 8 million with Watkins means you can downgrade to any other forward in the game, and I think that's a really powerful move to have. You don't have to worry about finding the funds to upgrade to Watkins if he was to hit the ground running. Now, looking at their bench, they've currently got Areola as their 4 million goalkeeper, but I do think if Matt Turner gets his move from Arsenal to Nottingham Forest, he will emerge as the best pick at 4 million, but that transfer needs to go through before that game week 1 deadline. 2 4 million defenders. The bench is a little thin with this, it is worth noting. Luton Skabore, wing-back, looks like the best 4 million option, and Baldock of Sheffield United. He's the most owned at 9.4, but I'm not very bullish on Sheffield United with the sale of Ndiaye, the potential sale of Sander Berg to Burnley. I think Sheffield United are going to be very weak this season, but Baldock is looking like he is going to offer some guaranteed minutes, so they are going for the double up in the 4 million defenders. I, for one, am a little bit suspect about having that much of a weak bench going into game week 1, because that also has the 4.5 million forward of Mbeumo at West Ham. We are expecting him to get some game time, but not considerable game time. And if any of these starting 11 were to come out of the team, I wouldn't feel too confident on that bench in terms of entering the 11. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think the general 11 are fantastic, and I understand why these guys are experts in their field playing FPL, but exactly that, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you do want to check out specifically the best managers in the world's teams, then make sure you do check out the link in the bio over on fantasyfootballfix.com. You can follow up to date with any live transfers that they do make by activating the push notifications. Just go check it out, link is in the bio. And that just leaves us to say thank you so much for tuning into this video. Make sure you do drop a like and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.